Right, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining the launch event for the second cohort of North Yorkshire Stars. Apologies that we're 5 or 6 minutes late starting this morning. We just had a few tech issues with a spurious Google invite that went round, but I'm glad to see all of you on the call got the revised Zoom details. We are recording this session, so it's available to watch after the event, and you don't have to have been here on the event today to actually sign up to the programme itself. So before I pass over to Jordan from Lifted Ventures, even put my teeth in, just want to tell you a bit about ourselves. So I'm Simon Middleton. I head up the Growth Hub at the York and North Yorkshire Combined Authority. We're absolutely delighted to be supporting this second cohort of North Yorkshire Stars, delivered by our partners, Lifted Ventures there. What's really important in everything that we do is that it comes about as a result of business-led evidence. So we only do things when we've got the evidence from businesses that we're delivering something that there's a need for. It's not us thinking we know. We know because we're told by all of you business owners out there. And that's what my team and others are doing as part of their job, is finding out what additional things you might need to help you in the journey of building up your businesses. So thank you to everyone on this call and elsewhere who talks to us on a regular basis, because this is where programs like this come from. And without that, we'd struggle to develop programs. We've got lots of other further support outside of this programme to help businesses. So I just wanted to touch on a couple of things that we've also got in addition to this programme. Any businesses who are interested in wanting to looking at exporting, we've got a series of 5 roadshows coming up in October in partnership with DBT, specifically aimed at helping businesses take those first steps in exporting. And come along, you might be surprised by what you can and you can do with exporting. If you've discounted it, maybe have a look, because we've got a number of experts lined up to help you, and there is a grant program attached to that as well to help you take those first steps along the road to exporting. The other really exciting offer we've got at the moment is known as our LEAD program, Leadership Excellence and Development. That's a 50% match funded programme. We've got £175,000 of funding available. Some of that's already getting allocated, but we're working with 8 delivery partners, and this is aimed at upskilling leaders and owners of businesses. One of the offers, for example, is we've got a delivery partner, Andy Knowles from Assetium, who'll come in and be a non-exec director in your business for 6 months. We've got the Alternative Board who provide peer-to-peer support, and we've got a number of other providers in there, absolutely focused on helping you develop as a leader of a business. So come and take a look. Have a look at our website, yngrowthhub.com. Give us a shout. You'll find me. You'll find the rest of us on LinkedIn. And we've got lots more. But in terms of today, I'm absolutely delighted that we're launching, as I said before, this second cohort. The first one was fantastic. It was superb to see a group of dozen to 15 businesses get together in, I think it was January, February time, not know each other, not know what they'd let themselves in for, and over the course of 2 or 3 months to see the development they made all the way through to the final event where they pitched to a room of investors. It was fantastic, and I know that Jordan and Helen have absolutely been keeping in contact with that cohort ever since to help them along the way. So if you've got an interest in raising investment in your business, wanting to talk to the right contacts at the right time, then this is absolutely the right program for you. So thank you very much for supporting, and I look forward to you joining the workshops, hopefully. But take your chance today to ask any questions you've got, and I hope you make the most of it. And without any further ado, I'll pass over to Jordan from Lifted Ventures. Thanks, Jordan.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that, Simon. Good morning, everybody. My name is Jordan Darg, and I am the co-founder of Lifted Ventures. Helen's going to be speaking very shortly and will be able to introduce herself at this stage. So Lifted Ventures was launched back in 2023, and essentially we do exist to increase the flow of capital into female founders. However, when it comes to delivering programs, we're really keen to work with all early stage businesses, looking at how we can increase the flow of capital, specifically early stage investment into growing businesses across the north of England. How do we do that? So Helen and I have been operating in this landscape now for over 12 years collaboratively. Over that time, we've developed knowledge, we've developed a track record, which Helen's going to touch on very shortly, to enable companies to increase the flow of capital into their businesses, looking specifically at all early stage options such as debt, equity, and grant funding. At the centre of what we do is an angel network. We have built out 2 angel networks. One is a mixed gender angel network, and one is a woman-only angel network. We work very closely with our angels and introduce them to early stage opportunities, which we have worked with to prepare to obviously make that step into raising equity-based investment. We also have a vast community of venture capital firms that we work really closely with. So we work with them on a shared knowledge basis, but we also work with those venture capital organisations in introducing opportunities. And if you are part of this programme, at the end of the programme, you and your business will be introduced to both the angel network and the venture capital network as well. We do talk obviously a lot within our organisation around supporting female founders, because Lifted Ventures is specifically set up to support female founders. However, we have proven track record and knowledge of working with all early stage founders, and with that have developed a series of blueprints as well to work with specific diverse founders as well, specifically associated to disability and neurodiversity as well. At the core of everything we do, it's all around education and working with organisations to help them prepare, help them understand what funding options are available, but really strengthen out their business model and their business opportunity to help them successfully raise investment. So I'm going to hand over to Helen, who's going to talk a little bit more about our track record and our values.
Yeah, so Jordan and I have sort of worked in this sector for a number of years and been sort of privileged to support a really diverse range of businesses to generate over £450 million worth of funding. And we supported over 500 entrepreneurs. And then in Lifted Ventures, which is our latest model, we've already, since January of this year, been able to support and leverage £3.2 million worth of funding for 7 different founders this year. So very active in the sort of partner model that Jordan explained about earlier. So if we could go to the next slide. We also have a number of values that we use as our sort of North Star when we come to support founders and angels in our networks. And you'll soon find out from us, we're straight talkers. So we'll give you really good feedback, a bit of tough love, but also the support and encouragement and motivation that you need to grow your businesses. We believe that northern-based businesses, and in fact all regional businesses, have the potential to scale globally. And so we'll always be thinking about how you can expand your ambition around global markets or UK markets. But at our heart, we're both from the north of England. You know, Jordan's from the northeast, I'm from Yorkshire. So we understand what that environment's like and some of the barriers, but also some of the great opportunities that we have here in terms of support. We're much more than a talking shop, so there is a lot of noise sometimes in supporting the sort of diverse founder space, but we're really focused on bringing together investors and growing the number of active investors outside of London to support early stage businesses. And we know that that's much better done as a group of us. So communities at the heart of all of our models. And I think Simon alluded to the fact that when we ran the first programme, those founders got to join together and share those experiences within the framework of the programme, but some of them have kept in touch since then as well, and that's a powerful part of what we do. So on to the next slide. So we're going to have a little bit of interaction now just to make sure that everybody's awake on this rainy morning. So We've got a poll coming up. Hopefully you can all read those yourselves. If anybody wants any support in responding to the polls, and let us know, and they want a different communication style. But here we go. Here's your poll. What was the reason for joining the event today? So the first answer, do you simply want to find out more? The second one, you've already been supported by the Growth Hub and you want to know more about investment readiness. Thirdly, you've already decided you really want investment. This is a really important stepping stone to getting the support you need. And the last one, you're looking to grow your business, but you're not actually sure whether you want investment or not. There's no right or wrong answer here. It's just really helpful for us to have sort of background knowledge as to why you're here today. So if you could answer those and submit, that would be brilliant.
Oh, two of them seem to be at the top there, Helen. 43% both for you're actively looking to raise investment, and that's jointly also alongside that you're looking to grow your business. So thank you so much for that. And thank you, Helen. So the next part of the agenda, we are going to now go into what the programme is specifically about. Okay. So this programme essentially is to support businesses to prepare for investment. Over half of you said in that poll there, that's your next step. That's what you're looking to achieve. Within there, what we're also looking to do is look at how we can increase, as Helen said there, increase angel capacity and early stage investment capacity for businesses based in this region. So what we have within our programme is an end module, which is those introductions. And that is a real unique differentiator that really helps businesses on their way. In addition to that, what we're really keen to do, and what we had noticed in the first programme that we delivered, is a lot of people who signed up to the first programme were embedded within an ecosystem, but not within a wider business ecosystem. And those introductions as part of the programme was really, really beneficial to helping those businesses on that forward journey. So our objective within this programme is to make sure that we can give access to entrepreneurs into those wider ecosystems of support and networks. And as Helen mentioned, and I mentioned in the opening there, we're really, really keen to support diverse founders in this programme as well. And we will put in place technology and methods to make sure that we can support all founders from all backgrounds. So we're going to talk a little bit now about what the programme is in terms of the modules that have been developed and built to deliver as part of this programme. So again, as you mentioned in the poll, 43% of you is really keen to grow your business. And the first thing which we look at within this programme is your business plan and how we can evolve that business plan. Raising investment is tough, okay? There's much greater demand than what there is supply. However, the businesses that are able to successfully raise investment are organisations which have really sense-checked and strengthened their business model to make it more viable to be able to access capital, but also service investment as well. So that's really strengthening what the business is about. So that first workshop, which we will be delivering in person, is looking at your business model, helping you visualise where you want that business to go, how you're going to put those building blocks into place, but also looking at perhaps where some of these pain points are now in your business and how we can overcome that as part of our journey. Okay, so that first workshop, it will be very interactive. It will be sharing your vision. It'll be looking at the challenges, and we will also be working very closely with you in that workshop, looking at how we can indeed strengthen your business model. As I mentioned in the opening, Helen and I have been collectively working in this environment for over 12 years now. And part of what we really do is work with the entrepreneurs to get them to a point where investors are looking at their opportunity favourably. Okay, we will never showcase an opportunity to investors which we do but not believe has the ability to grow and has the ability to suffice investment as well. So that's what we will do at the first part of the programme. Last year, at the beginning of this year, after that first workshop, and we're probably going to hear a little bit about this from Colette and James, who's speaking shortly, we saw a fundamental difference just in terms of how the cohort members spoke about their business. We had many people step through that first door who lacked confidence, had really lost their vision for where they wanted to take their business. And after that first workshop, there was a real feel for belief that actually they can get back in that straight path and onto investment. So that's what we will do in the first workshop. The second workshop's all around about looking at what options are available in terms of accessing funding. And this is a key learning workshop. We'll be looking at debt, we'll be looking at equity, and we'll be looking at grant-based options, okay? And specifically looking at what each of those investment types require from a business for you to be able to attract that investment, but also be able to service it in such a way, okay? So that's what we'll be doing as part of that next workshop. Workshop number 3 will be then looking at working with our professional accountants and our professional legal team, Gordon solicitors, in terms of thinking around how you actually successfully prepare your business from a financial forecasting perspective, but also thinking around what else can you be doing within your business that helps you build cash into your business quickly. So they'll talk not only about developing financial projections, but they'll also look at what other methods can you put into place in your business that's really going to strengthen you from a financial perspective. Then with our legal team, we'll be talking about the value of IP, okay? Do you need to have IP and patents in place, trademarks, copyright agreements? What is it that your business will specifically need to give it value that makes it more attractive to investors? And then the legal team will also talk through how to build out a great business foundation from a legal perspective where you can easily take on investment within a smooth process without any hiccups along the way. Okay, it's jumped forward. Okay, so the next part of the programme is the investor readiness part, okay? And this really starts to think about that pitch deck, okay? So if you think about that first workshop, which is around evolving your business, evolving the model, really underpinning what the value is in your business and how it's going to grow. Then thinking about what funding options are there, and then thinking about the financials and the legal element. We then take you into another in-person workshop, which is all around developing that pitch deck. It's essentially making a business plan, okay? But not a business plan that sits on a shelf and it doesn't ever get updated and it doesn't move along. A pitch deck that speaks to the investor. It's very clear what you're bringing to market that makes you really investable. But the other part of this program, this module, this program module, is the elevator. We know how important it is when you enter a room with an investor or enter a room with a client, just being able to articulate and explain who you are and what your company does in a very short space of time can be quite difficult. So after this workshop, you will have in place a pitch deck. You will be able to articulate your business for any business conversation, but also what this will do is showcase that roadmap for how you're going to obviously get to investors and where that business is going to grow and develop. It's done in such a way that it can be continually updated. So this is a really, really valuable piece, this product that's going to come out of this workshop that's going to be the actual and fundamental key part of what you can work with on a daily basis to showcase to investors, but will help you further your journey and help you grow your business as well. And that pitch deck can be, again, used in any conversation. It can be dovetailed back into a sales document. It can be used as your daily business plan. It can be used as a way to onboard teams. This is not just a pitch deck. This is a document that will help you grow your business because you'll be constantly working with it. Then what we would do is we do the one-to-one sessions thereafter. So once we've been working with you on developing the pitch deck and the investor pitch deck, in the one-to-one sessions, we will really help you refine them. Okay, so we'll really go through them pitch decks and your full business plan with fine-tooth comb and feedback on it from an investor perspective. Helen and I are both investors in our own right and have been investing for many years now. So we will look at this and educate you from an investor perspective. So we do a one-to-one coaching session, okay? And what we'll also be doing is working you up into groups. So within this cohort, we're looking to work with 20 companies. So within that 20 companies, we'll also be teaming you up with other like-minded companies where you can work in groups of 3 as a peer network to help you strengthen your position and share best practice, but also share some of those challenges that we see on a daily basis as a business. So they're one-to-one sessions. And then the second final step of the programme is those investor connections that we spoke about in the introduction. And it's really then what we will do is we will look at the 20 businesses which we have in the cohort and come up with an invite to specific investors that we think would like your business, would look to fund your business, or indeed offer the type of funding that we think is aligned to your business. So we will create a panel, an event where there will be equity, debt, and grant providers in the room who you can pitch your business to. And what we will do is then make the relevant introductions after that pitch event to those investors to continue those conversations. What we will also do at the end of that, event, is we follow up with it's basically an investment report for each business. So what that will look at is areas of the business that we think perhaps need to be strengthened further. It will also follow up with feedback from the investors. So as part of that event, we take the feedback from the investors on each of the opportunities. It will also have in there the introductions to the investors as well, so that you can continue those conversations. In addition to that, Lifted Ventures will continue to work with you, as Simon mentioned, to look to make additional investor introductions as well. So once the programme stops, that does not mean that our support stops. We will constantly be behind you every step of the way to help you get your business to a point where you have either raised investment or you've been able to take a business on the journey and grow it in the way that you feel is the best way for you to go. So what is the programme? It's a highly supportive programme which is basically dedicated to accelerating the growth of your business, visibility through the brand, and basically it is an advancement of the York and North Yorkshire Business Growth Hub. As Simon mentioned, obviously at the beginning here, there is a programme which is specifically looking at export. Now, thinking about the businesses who were in our previous cohort, there's a number of those businesses who would absolutely benefit from now transitioning into this export roadshow. So we will always look at that next part of the support, and we'll work with Simon and his team in not only the investment side, but also where else can we get you and your business into that will make a positive change to how you grow your business. This programme is also set with brand in mind. So we will also work with you in how you develop that brand further and address some of the key issues which you may have in your business. In the previous cohort, we had a number of businesses that had really come to a sticking point, and the founders were very conscious around where they can go next, what support they can get. They redefined their business models, which helped set them on a new journey and also helped establish their brands even further. As I mentioned at the end of the programme, we'll also give you that roadmap where you can go on your journey to gain further access to funding, and also enable you to understand more about the investment landscape so that you can be better prepared to get the investment that you need and want. We will make the connections to the investors, but we'll also connect you to a network of supporters as well. As I mentioned, this programme is up for up to 20 people, okay? And it will be delivered in one-to-many classroom-based environments, one-to-many virtual workshop environments, and also one-to-one virtual environment as well. So dates for your diary. There is a big ask that comes with this programme. The way to get the most out of it is by being at every part of the programme, okay? Unfortunately, we won't be able to accept any companies to pitch at the end if they've not fulfilled all of the modules. It's really important that when we've developed this programme, everybody's involved at each step along the way, okay? So the first workshop, which is the business model evolution workshop, will take place on Monday, the 7th of October. That will be in person in Evolution in Northallerton, and it's from 10 until 1. Workshop number 2, which is all around accessing funding. will be taking place remotely. Okay, so that will be via Zoom on Monday, the 14th of October from 10 until 11:30. Then in addition to that, we also will invite every cohort member who's taking part in that programme to come to the Athena Festival, which is being hosted by Lifted Ventures on Tuesday, the 15th of October. And it's a festival of innovation, investment and inclusion. And that will be taking place in Leeds at Nexus for a full day on the 15th of October. So you will get a private invite to that event. Then we'll be back in workshop style. So we'll be then hosting our next workshop, which is Monday, the 28th of October, remotely, based on financial forecasting, legal requirements and IP. So that's a remote workshop again. Then we'll be back in person on the 4th of November, where we'll be developing your pitch deck and your elevator deck. That will be over the course of 2 hours, and that will take place in person as well. Then between Monday, the 4th of November until Monday, the 2nd of December, we will be doing your one-to-one coaching, which will be remotely, and we'll also be setting up the peer networking groups. And then finally, on Tuesday, the 3rd of December, we will be hosting our Pitch to Investors event, which will take place again in Northallerton as well. So that will be in person. So that's the programme of activities. Okay. So to be eligible to apply for this programme, you need to be over the age of 18, a resident of the UK. Your business must be registered in York or North Yorkshire. And as mentioned, you must be able to commit to completing the programme, including all of the workshops set out. So in terms of next steps, before we end today's meeting, after the fireside chat, we will show a link to join the programme through the web page, and then everybody will be informed within a week after the closing date if they have secured their place. So that's the testimonial from one of our the cohort members from North Yorkshire Stars 1, which this company, which was led by Chris, has now gone on in different directions to grow the business. But as you can see from the testimonial, you know, from the support that he received, he was able to have valuable introductions. He was also had the opportunity to meet great founders and advisors. And also they have now pivoted their business to obviously drive further business growth. So I'm going to launch poll number 2 before we head into our first fireside chat of the morning. So we'll just wait for that one to come up. So poll number 2, and we'll do it in the same way. Please tick which one is relevant to you. How accessible have you found investor readiness and business growth support in York and North Yorkshire? So please do tick where you think is most relevant for you. Okay, yeah. Give everybody 30 seconds. Don't be shy, anybody. We can only see 2 people have answered so far. Okay, so extremely challenging. Well, we had one person who's now come in to say they've spoken to a couple of people, but have been pointed in different directions. But I think the consensus of the messaging is that they have found it extremely challenging so far. So thank you, everybody, for that. I think that really just goes to highlight that, as Simon mentioned in his opening, the Growth Hub have really specifically put on programs where they feel they can fill a gap and a real need for the business community. And I think that question's really highlighted that a lot of people who are on this call today are finding this extremely challenging. So hopefully this program will give you the answers and the support that you are needing now to move forward. So I'm going to hand you back to Helen, who is going to introduce and conduct our next part of the event.
Yeah, thanks for that, Jordan. And I think the responses to that poll were very similar to the responses that we got last time as we went into the first iteration of this programme. But I think it's that both Jordan and I would agree that we really, really enjoyed working with the founders in the first version of this programme. So I'm delighted that I've got 2 of those participants with us today. We've got Colette Saffield from Goat Drinks and James Varley from the Property Handbook. So we've got a holding slide, but hopefully both I can see James and Colette are on the call. Are we going to be able to see them now, Jordan? Or are we sticking with this slide?
Yes, no. If what we can do is we can highlight Colette and James, who will then come forward.
Could do that. That would be amazing. So if they
Is that okay, Joseph?
on.
Yeah. Ah, there we go. Yeah, done, Helen.
Great stuff. So I can't see that on my side. I can still just see the holding slide.
Can you not see anyone?
No.
Ah, right, we can see them.
Right, that's fine. Oh,
Yeah.
I can see James now. So hi, James, and hopefully Colette's there as well. Oh, I can see you both. Amazing. Just a bit of a delay. That's obviously West Yorkshire Wi-Fi working slowly there. So if we could kick off with James and Colette, just saying a little bit about what your business is, so people have a bit of context of what the business that you're running is. So James, if you want to kick off.
Sure, yeah. So Holiday Cottage Handbook, it's a multimedia platform aimed at short-term rental hosts and property managers, so people who run Airbnbs, as most people call them these days. So we share valuable free education with hosts and property managers to help them build successful and sustainable businesses. We have a website, newsletter, podcast series, we run events, we do lots of things on social media. We have lots of partnerships with various companies in the short-term rentals industry. The way we monetize is companies like property management solutions, dynamic pricing tools, direct booking websites, various other ancillary services. They pay sponsorship and advertising to get in front of our audience. So yeah, that's where we are. We've been going just over a year. And yeah, we joined the program at fairly early stage of our business. But yeah, I'll let Colette talk about getting drinks before.
Thanks, James. That was great. And Colette?
I'm Colette. I own a couple of drinks brands. I own Myth, which is an alcohol-free spirit brand, predominantly in the US and Canada. And I own Goat Energy, which is an energy drink brand with kind of a naturally caffeinated energy drink brand with powders and liquid in cans. I joined the first cohort of Lifted Ventures, and I suppose Goat monetizes through community. These are brands that are being built for exit, so not penny on the can, but exit value.
Yeah, and great to see a business like yours, which typically the energy drink space is dominated by male founders. So
it's all men, actually. A couple of months ago, I was at the InnoBev Awards, where Goat was awarded the global emerging energy brand ahead of Coke and Pepsi and all of those. And I did smile as I stood up, and everyone was looking for the man.
Yeah, well done, Colette. That's amazing.
Thank you.
So can you tell us now a little bit about why you joined the programme? And we'll go to you, Colette, first. Why did you come along to the North Yorkshire Stars programme?
I was invited. I know Simon, who's been great and a real support. But also I'd met both, obviously you, Helen, and you, Jordan, at the NatWest incubator, which I was briefly involved in. And I'm very keen on finding a kind of a way to be given information that is easily digestible without having reams and reams of stuff that I simply don't have time to plough through. So for me, it was available. It was there. You're great people. It was easy to understand, and immediately relevant to what I was doing at the time.
Great, and I think that's so important, Colette, that most of us don't give that time, do we, to work on the business and thinking about that development in the next stage.
Yeah, I think so, and it was very accessible. I'm quite neurodiverse, so that, as I think probably most founders are, and that wasn't a problem. I think sometimes as a woman in business, I hear a lot of people want to tell me why it's difficult for me and what's wrong with me, rather than focusing on my business. And you and Jordan didn't do that. You kind of focused on the business.
Oh, thank you so much, and it was great to have you on the programme.
Thank you, Helen.
And James, how about you? Why did you sign up in the first place?
Well, we're a new business and we're focused on growth, and this was an opportunity to get involved with obviously like the local growth hub and to find out, a scheme that was out there to help new businesses. So it seemed like a no-brainer for us to potentially get us in front of to give us access to people who might be interested in investing, but also as a learning opportunity. I think the opportunity to work with you and Jordan to develop pitch decks, to maybe think about your business in a slightly different way that you haven't thought about it before. And also to meet other founders in the space. I always find it really interesting to speak to other founders, whatever their business is, whether it's related to property or something that I'm doing or it isn't. I think to have those conversations and to build your network is really, really important. So yeah, it's opportunity to grow the business, get more eyeballs on what you're doing, and meet people who are going to help you along in the journey. So yeah, I think it ticked a lot of boxes for us, and to meet people from the growth hub as well, because there are so many different opportunities that they offer in terms of support and funding, and to make those connections and potentially be in pole position to get access to stuff like that in future. I think it's really important for new and growing businesses.
Yeah, absolutely. And we had a really great showcase at the end where you both did really well, and we had a sort of front row of investors and grant funding providers, and they all provided a bit of feedback, didn't they, in a document at the end. But I think it'd be really good to just share, what the key things that you got out of the program. I mean, I've seen the progress that you've both been making. James, I'm on your newsletter, and Colette, I'd heard some updates from Jordan about how much your business has moved forward since then. So if you could just share sort of lastly, what were the key things you got out of the program? Yeah,
do you want to go, James?
Yeah.
For us, yeah. I think again, you're getting that pitch deck really on point helped us. More experience of speaking to investors, because once you start having those conversations, you develop how you're putting your pitch deck together, the areas of the business that you need to work on to make sure that investors are going to be keen to get involved. Certain areas, it might be something to do with finance, it might be something to do with branding, it might be the way you're positioning it. So the more conversations you have with people who are either helping others invest or actually investing themselves is really helpful. I think, like I said, increased exposure was helpful for us, and just getting me to think about the business from a positioning and how we talk about what we've done so far in that pitch deck just helps you to just take things one stage further. I mean, we're still pretty new and growing all the time, so there's lots of different things to think about, but I think it really helped kind of solidify what I wanted to achieve with the business, and to get me thinking about the next steps. So yeah, that's really what I got out of it.
And we could definitely see that in your pitch at the end, James. And how about you, Colette?
I think it was a couple of things with me. It helped me to really understand the difference between my two drinks brands. One is predominantly international, one's domestic based, but also helped me to think about what I want from funding. The goat particularly is quite an engaging brand, so people want to be on board with it, but it's what I want to grow it to be and how I want that to be, which really made me press pause a bit and just think, well, what do I want? How do I niche this down to exactly what I want it to be without it kind of, I don't know, starting a journey I wasn't ready for? I think that was probably the single biggest thing with Goat, and just taking a pause, having a think, and stepping forward from that perspective, because it was all kind of getting away from me a bit, I think. So that was my main takeaway.
Thanks for that, and I think it is so important to take it at your own pace.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm immensely thankful to James and Colette for giving back by showing up and sharing those experiences with everybody today. And to all the entrepreneurs on the call, I'd highly recommend you watch these two. They're growing great businesses, and there's a lot you can learn from them. So thanks so much, James and Colette.
Thank you.
And back to Jordan.
Take care. Lovely to see you all. Bye-bye.
Pleasure.
Thanks, Colette. Thanks, James. That was really good. Thank you so much for that. Okay, so this now brings us on to our final part of the agenda today, where we have a lady called Grace Gimson, who is the founder of Holy Health. So welcome, Grace.
Hello.
I'm just going to wait for Grace to be pinned. I can hear you. There you are, Grace. How are you? You okay?
Good, thanks. Yeah, good to be here.
Very good. Good, Grace. So Grace is a founder who has successfully raised multiple rounds of investment for her business. She's a Sheffield-based organisation who's operating in the wellbeing and health sector. So Grace, do you want to just give a quick introduction to yourself and your business?
Yeah, of course. So I'm Grace Jimson, co-founder and CEO here at Holly Health. Holly Health is basically a digital health company which supports patients as well as NHS staff to feel better physically and mentally. And we support people with the process of habit change through kind of online CBT exercises and digital coaching to build the right personalized habits for the individual. And we wanted to build something that's super scalable, could feasibly scale to every person in the population, because we know a lot of people are struggling day to day with mental health challenges and chronic conditions. And we wanted it to be a really kind of regional proposition that can be rolled out into lots of different areas that don't necessarily always get the attention of NHS funding, for example, especially in prevention. So we have picked quite a hard business area, which is mass scale prevention. In the UK, it's not typically been very well funded by the NHS. So I believe that's one of the reasons for being here on this part of the call. We have had a challenging few years where pandemic brought a kind of investment wave into health tech, but then a bit of a crash afterwards as well. We've seen all kinds of international digital health hyper kind of inflation of valuations, and then those are now kind of much lower. And the investment climate around health tech is a little bit slow and paused at the moment, while a lot of investors kind of scan the market, watch what happens after, now that we've had the general election, what's going to happen with investment into the space and which areas are going to be most successful. So it has been a really interesting few years, and I'm glad to say that we've been navigating that.
Yeah, absolutely, Grace, absolutely. So we've heard of some of those challenges there that you've really had to obviously navigate, as you mentioned. But let's go right back to the beginning of your journey. So when you founded Holly Health. So tell us a little bit about where that vision came from.
Yeah, so it really came from a very long time ago when I was 14 or 15 years old, and I started playing with smartphones. My dad was working on the first versions of smartphones when I was really small, and I was playing with them for years and years, and just thought, this is going to change the way that we live. I really want to do something with this technology. And I was also really obsessed by psychology and human behavior, and wanted to work in that space but not be the expert in that space. I kind of knew that I wanted to build a company that incorporated those two things and had an impact as well. So there was a general idea, but really my career has been, how do I build that type of company in the future? So I've spent time in big companies like Microsoft from a more business and operations perspective, and then kind of scale ups like Deliveroo, and smaller tech companies. Had an exit to Facebook before founding Holly Health with a company called Scape Technologies. So yeah, kind of navigating the tech world and how to build stuff, how to kind of operationally grow small businesses.
Yeah, and I guess also, so right from that day one, Grace, where was it that you really felt that, actually you needed to know that you knew you needed to go and access some form of capital in order to help the business grow? And at that point, where did you go and seek help?
Yeah, this is a really interesting reflection for me, because I was involved in startups that were really going through that VC type of scaling. I was quite hooked on, like, right, we're going to start the company, we're going to raise VC investment. I was lucky to have a small network of kind of angel investors, friends and family, who were able to do the first kind of SEIS round. And anyone who hasn't yet raised their initial angel investment, there's really amazing tax incentives there for the angel investors. So that's something to make the most of. But by the time that we started raising VC investment, I don't think I fully understood that the VC world in Europe is not quite as advanced in the healthcare side of things. And so we had to basically spend a very long time talking to a lot of VC investors, getting very far down the process with a lot of them, and not really realizing that it was a bit too early to convert. And I think that's a learning and a reflection for myself, that we shouldn't really have been going so hard on the VC route from the early stage we were in. This was 3-4 years ago. And actually we were then successful in raising multiple angel rounds and grant rounds. So I know we've worked together, Jordan, previously on accessing the right types of funding, and I think you're one of the best people to help advise others on this. But the grant opportunities in the UK are really amazing. In the absence of some other things, there are some really great non-dilutive opportunities, and also debt-based opportunities as well. And that's kind of the route that we've taken, is really small incremental rounds, keeping our control of the business, raising just what we need to get to the next steps, and then really trying to lean on commercial growth and demonstrating revenue from our partnerships, and scaling the product that way.
Yeah, and you mentioned there as well, Grace, obviously, again, going back to sort of that grant play, okay? I know that when we first met, we worked very closely together to help you secure Innovate UK funding, which you successfully got, and also obviously we were able to help you get matched angel investment at that stage as well. I guess going to go for a grant application and going out for angel investment as well, how hard did you have to work at that investment readiness stage to make sure that you were able to complete a good grant application, but also knew that you had an ambitious business opportunity that we could go and help you find angel investment for?
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into it, and I think it's so key to not just have the pitch, but to have the substance behind the pitch as well. So in equal measure, we were always doing the actual deployments and delivery of the service, so that we could deploy to thousands and thousands of people and gather the outcomes and the results that would kind of fuel the deck and fuel the applications, but then also making sure that we had a refined business model, that it looked like it could scale from a tech perspective, but also commercials perspective. Is this a business model that the NHS could adopt and actually pay for on a large scale? So that I think without one or the other, we wouldn't have been as successful. And we have been lucky to kind of really push into the NHS pilot, and then now commercial growth, so that we could gather those outcomes. But without really focusing on the grant writing and the deck, then it also wouldn't have worked. I think something that's really important to note as well is the different grant opportunities have different scoring systems. They really they look for you to really get every single piece of the question that they'd like to see addressed. So it really helps kind of working with someone like yourself, Jordan, who understands how those work and understands what the assessors are looking for in there.
Yeah, absolutely. And the role as well, obviously, you, as we mentioned, you successfully raised angel investment, okay? And that's a key area for this program. You know, we're wanting to bring together grant providers, angel investors, and we will have some VCs in the room as well, because VCs are always looking for the right opportunities coming through, and they will track them. But coming back to the angel part as well, Grace, how important was it for you to secure angel investment, and actually how's that helped you now on your journey?
I'd say it's been really instrumental. Like there's bits and pieces of the company that just wouldn't have happened without a bit of initial investment. That's not to say that we needed £1 million up front to do things. We were raising quite small kind of rounds. So the first round was only £100,000, for example, and then the next round kind of 300,000. And each of those rounds enabled us to get to that next point of traction and demonstration of what's possible. And I think that the benefit of doing things in a small contained way is then the founding team and the employees kind of keep ownership of what you're doing. You can kind of choose your path. And then as you're growing, that's an amazing time to demonstrate to the VCs and the bigger investors, on my terms, this is how I plan to grow the business. And would you like to come and join that journey? If you do have those connections with the VCs from the start who've been watching, then that will be a much better conversation as well.
Yeah, absolutely. The power of networks, Grace, is absolutely key, isn't it? And we actually met, you and I met, didn't we, through a network connection. That was how you arrived at well, with Helen and I, obviously, and that's where we were able to help you successfully raise the first and second round of investment. So where are you at now, Grace, in terms of where's your business at now, and what's your next step for raising investment?
Yeah, so we're not new anymore. We're kind of 4.5 years into building the company, but honestly, it does get better with time, I would say. So when anyone who is in that highly stressful, kind of really early stage scenario, everything gets better with time. Your technology gets better, your confidence in your pitch gets better, obviously your commercial partnerships and data and outcomes get better. And now I feel quite confident in where we are as a company. It's still challenging because where is all the prevention money? Hopefully with some of these government changes, we'll see some big kind of NHS changes soon as well. But the plan really is to keep scaling, again, very regionally. So we have a lot going on in Yorkshire, we have a lot going on in Scotland, we have a lot going on in Wales, we have a lot going on in lots of different kind of hubs, and it's just about getting the outcomes, demonstrating what's possible when you kind of get people earlier in their health journey, and also expanding internationally. So that's another thing as well, to keep your sights on not just focusing on how you get to the next steps in the UK, but what's going to be your business model internationally. Is it going to be very different from in the UK? For us, yes, because the NHS is very unique. So our sights are on kind of US growth in the next 6 months, and then we also have some other markets in mind as well.
Brilliant, brilliant. Just as well, Grace, you reminded me there as well, when we submitted your Innovate UK application, because we did it in 2 stages, didn't we? We did an expression of interest and then we did your full application. After the expression of interest, the feedback was from Innovate UK, this is how you write a grant application. So well done on that. And obviously all of the information which you took on board, and obviously from your team as well, it was really, really fundamental that you put a great amount of effort in, because that ended up actually securing you a few $100,000, didn't it?
Yeah, if we include the investment and the match funding, that was over £600,000. So that secures kind of more than a year of development.
Absolutely. And one final question, if you don't mind, Grace, what piece of advice would you give to any of the cohort members or potential cohort members who are looking to join this program? What one piece of advice would you give them in their business journey?
The biggest piece of advice probably I could give is just don't burn out, and do what you need to do to give yourself, the people around you, the headspace to not constantly every day feel like you're drowning. And actually joining a program like this and connecting with other founders who are in the same boat, I'd say is one of the best ways to kind of recognize that you can take a step back and you can work out what's working or not for your brain. Because if you burn out, then basically it's game over for your company and it's just going to be a horrible experience. So make sure it's sustainable and build that structure around you to do so.
Wonderful. Grace, thank you so much. I know you're really busy, but I'm really delighted to have been able to have this conversation with you this morning. And it's so lovely to see you again as well.
It's
good luck.
Thanks for having me.
Take care. Thanks, Grace. Thank you. So that now brings us to the end of the event this morning. And as you will have heard throughout the morning, we've spoke specifically about the support which you can access from the Growth Hub Direct, what initiatives are in place from the Growth Hub. We've gone through what the programme is about and all of those touch points which you will receive as part of that programme. You've heard from Colette and from James about their journey on this programme. And then finally from Grace, how important it was for her to be able to have support in helping her create those grant applications, but also in terms of helping her raise that investment, which has set her up onto a great journey and hopefully a very successful one as well. So if this is of interest to you and you would like to learn how to position your business, how to create ambition within the business and secure investment successfully and meet amazing people along the way, then please do visit the Growth Hub website, and there is the website above. Go into their blog and news section, and you can sign up directly to apply for the programme. The date for applications is also on the page. Sorry, the date for the close of the applications is also on that page. You will be informed within a week of the applications closing in terms of your success. As I say, we're looking to work with 20 companies on this programme, and we do hope that we will see you at the other side. So I'm just going to hand back to Simon to say final. Thank you.
Thank you, Jordan. I just want to pick up one question that Rachel's just popped in there. Rachel, I understand you can't make a couple of the dates, and you've asked, will we be running the programme again in 2025? I can't really answer that at the moment. In an ideal world, I'd say yes, we will. It's very much subject to the funding that we secure from government, and we don't know yet what that position will look like. So just keep watching this space. And Caroline, you've just asked, how often do you run these programs? Well, this particular one, as we mentioned today, we ran the first ever cohort earlier this year, very much as a response to evidence we've got from businesses that they needed this type of support. I hope, as you've seen today, particularly with the sessions with Colette and with James, that particular program was very, very well received. And this is exactly why we're doing it again. We've somewhere in the region of 20 to 25 other types of support that are all listed on our website. So please have a look there. Please get in touch with me as well. You'll find me on LinkedIn. So really happy to have a chat at your convenience and just listen and find out what you're up to. But in terms of today, I just want to say again, thank you to Colette and James. Thank you to Grace. Massively inspirational story that I've not come across Grace's business before. I've made a note and I'll be checking out her website shortly. I thought that was a great testimonial for the support you get from Jordan and from Helen and from wider networks. Thank you all for joining the call. Helen, Jordan, thank you for supporting again with this second cohort. I'm so excited about this and where it might go, because we're all about supporting businesses and trying to help them achieve their ambitions and their goals. So thank you all for taking part. I don't think I have anything further to add to that. Just give us a shout if you've got any questions, and I look forward to seeing you on the programme.